We've just been talking about Sennacherib, and we've now come to the Lachish room, which is very interesting because in 701 BC, we find that Sennacherib came up against Judah. He didn't capture Jerusalem. If he had, humanly speaking, the Messiah could never have been born. But he did capture a very important city, Lachish.
At the bottom here we have a very sad scene where people being impaled. This is the forerunner of crucifixion. This is how Moses would have been executed if the Egyptians had caught him. This is how Haman wanted to put Mordecai to death. Moses refers to it as cursed is anyone who is hanged on a tree. And in Acts chapter 10, Peter at the house of Cornelius doesn't say Jesus was crucified, but that he was hanged on a tree, linking back to this horrendous way of dying.
Fascinating. We've moved along here, Clive. What does this part of the relief show?
This is truly hideous. The two main leaders of Lachish have been staked out on the ground and they're being flayed, that is skinned alive. And their skins will then be taken and put on what remains of the city gate as a warning to all not to rebel. Also, what I think is really gruesome is that they've got two children, I hope they're not related, looking on. If Sennacherib had got into Jerusalem, in all probability, this would have been Hezekiah and Isaiah. So when Isaiah says, trust in God, he will save you, he literally took his skin in his hands. Sennacherib was a modest man. He calls himself in the inscription there, King of the Universe.
Sennacherib, supreme king, king of Assyria, sits upon a throne while the booty of Lachish passes before him.
But we can see what other people thought of him when Nineveh fell in August 612 BC. We think it was a Babylonian soldier that defaced him because they believed if you take away someone's face, you take away their identity and their ability to live in the afterlife.
We were talking just now about Sennacherib, and this, fascinatingly, is his own story in stone. Tell us about it, Clive.
The ancient Assyrians used to bury at temples foundation records, and this is Sennacherib's one of almost this complete reign, starting in 705 BC. What is significant for us is that he actually mentions coming against Judah, and in his own words, he shut up Hezekiah like a bird in a cage. And what is interesting is that, according to the Bible, of course, he was not able to get into that cage, but he doesn't say why he couldn't. And he went back, and it also lists all the places that are mentioned in 2 Kings, 2 Chronicles, and Isaiah as well. So we're incredibly fortunate to have both the Hebrew version and the Assyrian version of the invasion of 701.